Welcome to the Raw Review. We are the Dadley Boyz of What Culture. I'm Adam Wilborn, joined by Michael Hamflett and Michael Sidgwick here to review everything that happened on last night's episode of McDonagh Raw. But before we get into it, if you're a fan of this sort of thing, make sure you subscribe to What Culture Wrestling on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and YouTube, where we do daily wrestling podcasts where we not only review McDonagh Raw, that's a friend of McDonagh, the show formerly known as NXT 2. AEW Dynamite, AEW Collision, pay-per-views, premium live events. We have interviews, roundtable discussions, and a roundup of the week complete with a bloody good quiz, of course, on Wrestle Culture. As I said, they're joined by Hamflett and Sidgwick to review Raw. Apologies for the delay, technical difficulties, but we should all be sorted now. What did you make of last night's show, Hamflett?
When WWE was full-on shoot crud, you would often start these podcasts going, another divisive edition of Monday Night Raw.
I didn't know, I said it was crap.
It wasn't divisive back then. It was dreadful. This one feels like a divisive episode of Monday Night Raw. I engaged, as we do every day, we're all nerds. Before you arrived in the office, Wilborn, so I was aware there was a numerical advantage going for the UK. In a brief bit of Raw crack with my colleagues Michael Sidgwick and Andy Murray, also of this parish, and quite the disagreement on the old quality of this show. I thought it was great.
Of course you did. I didn't think this was very good at all. I'd loved the opening segment. I'm going to put it over verve and enthusiasm, but I just didn't have a lot of time for virtually anything else.
I didn't think I was going to enjoy this show as much as I did. I thought there was going to be quite a few middling matches, and then there was one
This
bit...
was great in spite of all that wrestling they put on it. That was what shocked me, apart from the main event.
There was one bit where I thought, do I dare let myself hope for something like that? We'll get into it later, and I don't want to overpromise or don't want to speculate on something that me and Andy talked a little bit about in the news regarding Big E, but the element of that where I went from, it's just gone to a no contest to, what does this mean? Why are they doing this way? And Gunther coming back next week, et cetera, et cetera. I'm glad Cody just, finally triumphed in that. But yeah, it was a show that the main talking point was the opening segment. So let's just dive straight into it, I suppose.
Yeah, why not?
The show opened with Cody Rhodes smiling, walking through Portland, wasn't it? Walking through the arena. And the announcer started talking about his match. And Drew's like, enough of that. I got something I want to see. He's already in the ring. He said last week was all or nothing for him against Seth Rollins. As you can see, he has nothing. He doesn't have the title. He had the match won, but he cost himself the match with his overzealous pin, allowing Rollins to get a rope break. Maybe everyone was right, said Drew, in suggesting that he was holding himself back. Maybe it's time to step away from WWE and get my head straight. Not easy thinking that way, and the crowd aren't happy hearing this. But then he says, actually, I've been replaying the match in my mind and realised I didn't lose straight up because I was cost the match by Damian Priest, who's an idiot. He's trying to cash in. Should have just waited till after the match, after I'd won the title to take advantage. Yeah, he's an idiot, and he cost them both. And he talks about CM Punk being gone for 9 years and then welcome back with open arms. Maybe he should do the same. And this, of course, brings out CM Punk, who gets a huge baby. And announces we're in Piper country. He's a bit disappointed that Drew hasn't worn a kilt. And he says, look, Rowdy Roddy Piper was known for talking. I'm known for talking as well. You're not known for talking as much, Drew, but that's all you seem to be doing since I came back. So if you had something to say to me, I want to hear it in person. And he sits like Eddie Guerrero on the top rope, and the crowd chant for him. He lifts the microphone up. We've all seen the image doing the rounds on social media today, and McIntyre's like, okay, well, congratulations on still being here a month later. A lot of guys in the back, and a lot of guys at What Culture, had a bet on how long he'd last, and he's costing them money.
Pasty bets in the Fed.
Yeah. He didn't care what Punk had said outside the company. He cared about what Punk did to him personally. And he remembered when they were together previously. And he was traveling with Punk. He knew the real Punk. When Punk was champion and he called himself the locker room leader. And McIntyre had his issues. He was in a dark place. He needed a leader. But Punk saw him as a threat. And he just wasn't there to help. McIntyre tried to ask Randy Orton for help, but Randy Orton had his own demons. Punk was straight edge. He didn't have any demons. He was the demon. He called Punk a succubus. He doesn't need a leader anymore, though, because he's the leader, kid. And Punk says, look, I've called myself a lot of things. I've never called myself a leader, though. I lead by example. I watched you walk away from this company just the way I did, and then you came back and you main evented WrestleMania. You won the title. Now I'm back to win the Royal Rumble and main event WrestleMania 2. He said, I'm not a demon, but when pushed, I am Satan himself. He also said, I'm a real nice guy until it's time not to be. And he almost looks at his watch here. He's not here to be a nice guy, though. He's here to win the Rumble and main event WrestleMania. McIntyre says, I've already main evented WrestleMania. I stepped up during the pandemic. If you were in my shoes, though, you'd have left because when the going gets tough, you get out of there. I'm going to eliminate you from the Royal Rumble, and then I'm going to go on to WrestleMania, but this time I'm going to be doing it for myself, not for the fans. And Punk says, it's getting a little bit spicy in here. I'm going to set an example. I'm going to leave before I knock your teeth down your throat. No one's going to stop me from winning the Rumble, said Punk. Not you, Drew. Not Seth Rollins. Not Cody Rhodes. But because I'm such a nice guy in the Royal Rumble, I'm going to throw you out last.
Sublime. Absolutely sublime. Realistically, the best kayfabe character in WWE right now, like interacting with the best in the world, and a guy that's just like white hot, as close as what you get to white hot in WWE, and CM Punk in the back, and they're together. Like I mentioned yesterday on the preview that I thought Punk could eat a Claymore, because I assumed it would be Punk doing a promo being interrupted by a pissed off Drew, and instead WWE flipped it, and I think it was much better for that, by the way. The idea that like Punk was going to come out and say something, but felt like he'd been called out a little bit, and now he's back in the fiction of this, that won't stand. This is so much better, and I continue to love, and I think pretty much after like that big SmackDown promo he cut, which was the long version of the Raw one he couldn't, we've been in CM Punk, the fictional character, way more than what's Phil doing back and what's he going to do? With the Seth Rollins promo and then with this one, they've found a way to fold those two things together, and I have a lot of faith they're going to do that at least to WrestleMania, because I want a main event WrestleMania works just as well in the fiction as we know it does and did in CM Punk's reality. It's sort of perfect.
Yeah.
It's like, this is what, like, they can boil down CM Punk was pissed off. What you should do is listen to like two hour-long Colt Cabana podcasts. What WWE will tell you is because he couldn't main event WrestleMania. And by the way, that's enough. Just lean on that because it's WrestleMania season and it folds perfectly into your story. Fantastic. So smart. And Punk, in one promo here, puts over the importance and the stakes of the Royal Rumble in a far superior way. So I suggested throwing out 29 guys. No, he is saying he is better than the 29 guys, because listen to some of the 29 guys. And Punk is saying he's better than him and better than him. Like, he name-checked Cody Rhodes here. Like, he's just telling you, I think I'm better than him, and I'm going to win this match because I believe that, and we know this about Punk's conviction. Really great writing. Like, Punk, AEW have inadvertently killed like the devil being a cool thing to say for a bit. So that's why it felt a bit weird him saying Satan. Like, you think I'm the demon, I'm the devil would have been the line, but obviously you've got to say Satan instead. But the way that they set up that Punk could call himself that was inspired, as was Punk drawing the comparison between Drew's story and his.
Yeah.
They did that with Seth as well. I credit Triple H with this because we've seen this a lot lately. We talked about this with another Drew segment, I think it was Sami Zayn. They will find ways, this creative team in Triple H, of linking wrestlers in a way that you haven't thought about until they're out there. And then you go, oh yeah, of course. That's sort of inspired. And now there's a reason to hate each other. Punk calls his own shot for the Rumble. I'll eliminate you last. Is that the finish? Like, is that the frigging finish to the Rumble? Because he's basically writing Cody out of it. If so, like, and yet another, of which there's a list that just gets bigger and bigger and bigger, of exhilarating potential CM Punk matches if he can actually see out this 3-year contract. A proper, no-notes CM Punk Raw opening.
This is really, really strong, gripped throughout. There was an energy in this segment that I thought was missing from the Seth Punk one. Something about Seth, I don't have to like bury that to put over this, but it's just a useful comparative exercise because I just felt like the energy here was just different, even though I've heard nor read any sort of story about any animosity existing between Drew and Punk. They simply, through excellent verbal performances and body language, kind of magicked it out of thin air. That's great wrestling storytelling. That's great drama. That's great promo work. There's just a spice to this, like to use Punk's own phrase. And Drew McIntyre is just so dialed in. He just seems so bound and determined to be like the brick house George Costanza. That's his character at the moment. Every perceived slight, he's just pissy about it. Like, I suffer from CM Punk fatigue. I think a few people do as well, where it's like, I'm just kind of bored of this whole discourse, the fact that he overshadows everything, the fact that, you know, it's just impossible to sort of view him as this on-screen character without all of the baggage that he carries. And And I get it. I've experienced it maybe more than most. And yet, he's so good. And Drew McIntyre was every bit his match here. I thought he was on incendiary form. He is so good, CM Punk, and so compelling, and such a star that I watch countless, quote-unquote, great wrestling matches per week. This performance was so, edgy. Mm-hmm. It did have that combustible element. I kind of did want to see Drew McIntyre claymore him in the face, if I'm being perfectly honest. They were sort of previewing here a 2 to 3 minute Royal Rumble interaction, and they did a more commendable, genuinely intriguing job of doing that than I've seen of countless promos setting up a proper feature-length 20-minute match. This is so good. Though Drew McIntyre kind of I don't want to say outclassed him, but he's just... Drew, in his character, and maybe his real-life personality, and that's why one influences the other and enhances the other, just seems like he just does not want to be denied at the moment. He's just ready to just put the gloves on and go blow for blow. He seems so motivated to make something big out of this. And again, we're talking about a potential, maybe a Raw match in February, maybe it building off, maybe a 2 to 3 minute interaction at the Rumble. And they just sold me on that more than I've been sold on a lot of matches recently.
I think sometimes with, when somebody's ascended to the next level of superstardom in pro wrestling, I think a lot of it is just when you know, and a lot of wrestlers will tell you that it's happening, such as Drew telling you physically he's ready to beat Brock, and then he does at WrestleMania, or Drew around Clash at the Castle talking himself up as the guy that can stop Roman Reigns, and you buying it for the context of the program, but never really feeling it in your guts. Yeah. This was only selling that both men are going to be in the Rumble, but there he is going nose to nose with CM Punk, not just standing his ground. I agree with you, but points outperforming him. So he's just showing you that. This
Punk
is not
flipped the line here.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he's not Drew isn't telling you I'm ready for Roman, I'm ready for Brock. He's just showing you that he can absolutely match Punk and at times outdo him on the microphone. Just on Punk, by the way, because I felt this. I didn't want to come across defensive of him. Of course, I would after his first Raw speech, because the SmackDown one was obviously superior. And the point I was trying to make back then was they absolutely have to do the reality bit. But the trick with CM Punk is always that the fiction is loads more fun. The man is an absolutely fantastic pro wrestling performer. He was the best version of himself as an AEW wrestler when he was dialed into a fictional program with MJF. He's the best WWE superstar when he's just engaged in the stories. The reality comes with him. So it's often a balancing act.
Offered to shave his head, didn't he? I forgot to mention.
There was a straight edge superstar thing, and when he comes into AEW and cuts that amazing promo in the first dance, you have to do it. You have to talk about why you've been away. When he returns to WWE and you have that very awkward Raw one, and then you have the SmackDown one that sort of squares that away, you have to do it because there's all of this baggage. It's Punk. There's always a lot of baggage to discuss. The Collision return. It just gets engaging to me when he's a wrestler, when he's a pro wrestler again. Yeah. This is the fun bit. Punk himself has said it. This is supposed to be fun with that snarky look of his. I think that's what he means by that. He'd rather be CM Punk, the fictional character, than, what's Phil going to say? Yeah. His magic is balancing it.
I really like the way they did the next thing as well, because it was Ciampa versus Balor, obviously. If Ciampa wins, DIY get themselves a title shot. But yet more evidence of things changing under Triple H, and obviously things changing with the departure of Kevin Dunn, because I've never seen them do something like this before. Tommaso Ciampa basically walking with Johnny Gargano through the backstage area, through to Gorilla, cutting a promo saying, this is must win. DIY, I've got New Year's resolution. We want to win the tag titles. And then he burst through the curtain to make his entrance against Finn Balor.
So resourceful. I thought it was really inspired.
And you want to just see... it's the thing is the Kevin Dunn thing. We haven't really had a chance to speak about how this is massive.
I think it isn't. I think he's not been as present.
No, the news is big that he's gone, but I think the changes are going to be slightly overstated because it's a bit like what Sidge has always said about Vince and Triple H. Look what tree Triple H sat under, what learning tree. This entire production of this promotion has sat under Kevin Dunn's learning tree, whether they've liked it or not, for 30 odd years. And the quick cuts are not just going to disappear tonight. The commentary under Triple H is obviously vast superior because you are taking away the man that screams in their ears. There's people in Kevin Dunn's production truck that have only learned to produce WWE through him. It's going to take segments like this because a lot of it I think will remain the same. The WrestleMania set's not going to stink this year just because Kevin Dunn's not there. It's still going to look great.
So yeah, a really enjoyable back and forth early on, understandably, between these two. It's only the second time they faced each other, of course. But Gargano's out there with Ciampa, and Priest is out there with Balor, and a Priest distraction allows Balor to knock Ciampa into the announce table to take us to a break. When we come back, Balor's in control, sets up, tries for the coup de grace, but Ciampa avoids it. Crucifix pin, gets a 2 count. Ciampa wants to hit his finisher, but Priest hits the apron. So Ciampa tries to knock him off. Doesn't really have any effect. So Gargano tries to take him down. Priest fights him off. Looks like he's going to razor's edge Gargano through the table. But Gargano escapes through the help of Ciampa kneeing Priest in the face. As he's getting back in the ring, though, Balor kicks the middle rope into his cack. Goes for a vertical suplex, but Gargano, a little bit late, grabs Balor's foot. That allows Ciampa to sort of reverse it midair, lands on him, gets the 1, 2, 3. Balor can't believe it. Ciampa and Gargano DIY will get a title.
I thought this sucked. I thought this absolutely sucked. I watched it on the Discovery app, TNT Sports, ironically, in the UK. And I watched it, saw some moves happen. Big old commercial break. They return from the commercial break. Babyface Johnny Gargano is a dickhead, and then the match ends. What?
Yeah, I thought it was the weakest point of the whole show. I'm so excited to discuss a potential Judgment Day tag team title match later on this broadcast.
Oh, he's been doing it all bloody day.
Yeah, they haven't had a chance to listen to me yet. It's just you guys that are bored of it. This was not it. This was a match to build a match that I don't want to watch. Like, Triple H, and this is not the first time he's made this mistake, genuinely seems to think that wacky pranks to Johnny Gargano is like a charming babyface, and I don't blame Gargano for that. I blame Triple H.
I kind of blame them both.
Yeah, it's the performer and the promotion in lockstep here. But I blame Triple H for continuing on thinking this is what people want out of Johnny, or DIY for that matter. Like, they were so annoying as a bit wacky that I was like, oh, they must be turning heel then. If I don't think that, then I can only assume that this is just bad broken.
Gargano's body language and the way he celebrated it was so obnoxious that you forget. Obviously, Priest has tried to, and for like months now, if not like over a year or whatever, the Judgment Day have been doing this sort of thing. It should register as, well, you got what you deserved.
Yeah.
Turnabout is fair play.
Yeah.
Because Johnny Gargano is so obnoxious as this type of wrestler, right? That it's, sorry, Phil, that I just, God.
Yeah. It's that face he pulls, isn't it? Got him.
Becky Lynch is backstage with Jackie Redmond. Talks about losing to Nia Jax, of course, at day one. Says, look, I knew before the match if Jax hits me as hard as she can, I'll end up in hospital with broken bones. But she did hit me as hard as she can. And when I did lose and I got my mouth busted open, I dusted myself off. And I just said, oh, I'll be in the Rumble. She said, last time I declared for the Rumble, I main evented WrestleMania. I didn't end Jax the way I wanted to, but Jax didn't end me either. This isn't the end. This is just the beginning.
I like this promo, and I liked it more after the one featuring Nia Jax later on. I think it's some very, very nice booking taking place between Becky Lynch and those two women.
Anything you want to say? No. We see a replay before this next match of the unfortunate injury for Giovanni Vinci with Kofi Kingston last week. Vinci's going to be out for a couple of weeks. Get well soon, of course, Giovanni Vinci. As a result of that, we got Kofi Kingston versus Ludwig Kaiser.
Skip.
Yeah, it went to a double count out. Yeah. No 5-star review today. I do apologise, but the technical issues have been keeping us rather busy today.
Basically, what's happened is that we're not doing a 5-star review today because Adam Wilborn had zero time to prepare any notes or to watch any footage, because when he's not been podcasting, he's been trying to knuckle down for bloody once and just really work out what the hell's been going on.
Yes.
Anyway, it's resolved.
Yes. All fixed, and yeah, everything will return to normal, and we will get back to 5-star reviews next week. If you want to submit one, by the way, you can leave us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts, or you can leave us a 5-star rating on Spotify. Screenshot it.
We need the proof.
And email it to me, adam.wilborn@whatculture.com. But Skip, it still means Skip. It went to a double count out, and we've got to talk about what came afterwards, because afterwards, Kofi was like, oh, I thought I'll beat it in. Ref was like, no. And so he hit a suicide dive on Ludwig Kaiser, who thought, okay, fair enough, match is over. So just shoved his thumb in Kingston's eye. Kingston fought back. Officials separated them. The crowd were like, let him fight. And Kingston was like, yeah, actually, let's go and have a fight. I've seen this replayed about 20 times on social media today, because Ludwig Kaiser, it's such a good spot. I know they have the steel chairs, and that's made of steel. I can't remember a bad spot where they launch one of those big wheelie leather chairs. He just nailed the
Looks great, doesn't it?
Oh, aye.
Member one's the Braun Roman one, of course. But this was awesome as well. Yeah,
Lesnar took out a security guard.
Yes.
Was absolutely goated.
They're too big and cumbersome to fly.
Yeah.
And yet they do.
When they throw him wheels first.
Yeah.
Yeah, he hoiked that at Kingston's face, and Kingston eats it, and he sort of slumped over the stairs, and Kaiser's like, that's enough. Psych! Runs all the way around, drop kicks Kofi Kingston's head into the steel steps. He was fizzing when he went backstage. We'll talk about this here as well. It's all Kofi Kingston's fault what happened to Vinci. Now I'm the only one here carrying the weight of Imperium. He took Vinci's head, so tonight I took his. Where are they going with this?
A match.
Well, yeah.
A match between the New Day and Imperium.
But do we dare to dream about Big E?
Yeah, tag her a 6-man.
I don't want to dream. I'll be just happy to see it.
Loads of people were speculating about this on social media and messages about it on the news this morning. And I'd love to sit here and go, yes. We don't know what the situation is with Big E at the end of the day.
Yeah, I'd love. He's just the best.
Yeah.
Like in a totally tribalist world, and it sucks. You just surely expect like this, if Big E doesn't pass your vibe check,
Yeah.
right, you're a bad person.
Yeah.
If Matt Striker passes your vibe check, you're a bad. That's how we should determine.
Every of the rest is in the middle.
Is that a scale? Yeah.
That's a scale, and we should determine entry to like afterlives. And like who passes your vibe check and who doesn't. You're probably a bad person if you can
like
dig
that.
Matt Striker and not Big E. Like, no, hell for you. Hell for you. I will say that that meme of the woman going, nah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went a bit like that when I saw count out finish, but if Kaiser's going crazy,
Brawl
and that's
was
quite
way
good.
better than the match. The Brawl was way better than the match.
It's something about I don't know how to do the thing. It's 2024. You say me. It's very synthetic, the WWE presentation.
Mm-hmm.
There's a certain energy and chaos missing from it because it's very polished. Like by their design. It's not me just interpreting it cynically. It's just a very polished TV friendly.
It is the way they want it to be.
It is.
Yeah.
So when you got Kaiser going full ham, it kind of registers and it looks like he's very intense. So I kind of had a lot of time for this post match.
I like the idea because Gunther's back next week, isn't he?
Yes.
And it'd be quite nice for Kaiser now to sort of, I don't like the Imperium dissension, never have, but right now would be the time to be scoring points. Like saying, I'm defending, like Fallen here, like Giovanni Vinci's gone, I'll do whatever I can to fight for him. Is that maybe the best, boss? But the tag...
It's weird how they care about Vinci now.
Yeah. Because they should probably drop the dissension, shouldn't they? It was really bad, so they should probably kill that.
It's terrible, yeah.
The tag match is fine, the 6-man would be amazing. It would be magic. The New Day and Imperium as part of a celebration of Big E's return would be magic.
Pitching people, sorry, Chad Gable, pitching people to take the title off Gunther. Who better than Big E at WrestleMania?
Oh, I mean, Jesus, yeah. Again, like, it's proper lamb out the way in The Simpsons, isn't it, with Chad? Like, out the way, you.
Yeah.
Big E's not there for 1 week, and Big E's just hinting at it. Anyway. Right, let's talk about Nia Jax. Oh, I love her. Michael Cole's interview.
Never used to, though, did you?
No, not a fan. Hate her. She said she shocked the world last week when she beat Becky Lynch. She said that wasn't shocking, though. I'll tell you what is shocking, if I break your goddamn face, Michael Cole. And I was like, oh, please.
How about you, Michael Cole? Let's start with you. I will break your ass in half, you little head.
Why not, yeah?
If he defends it 24/7, I'll defend it 48-14. How about I start with you, Michael Cole? Because I will break your ass in half, you little head. Honestly, it's burned into my memory. 2000, I mean, 15, that kind of... It was the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. I think it was 15 years old. I was just like, I said, you can't say that in the Fed.
And like Bob Holly saying he'll defend the hardcore title like 14 days a week is the perfect sequel to Beat Everybody.
Yeah.
Instead, though, she is focused on the Royal Rumble, is Nia Jax. She says, Io Sky or Rhea Ripley, you both can get it. And Rhea Ripley comes out, gets a great reaction. And Ripley says, you like to talk a big game. You're acting like you've already won the Rumble. Do you not remember what happened last year where I threw you out? You did beat Becky Lynch, but Becky Lynch isn't Rhea bloody Ripley. She told her to stop acting like she owned the division until she was ready to step to her. If you did win the Rumble, keep my name out of your mouth. And Jack says, look, I give you credit, Rhea, for being perhaps the most dominant champion in history, but I also dropped you on your ass when I returned. And the only reason I'm not holding the title is because you're afraid to face me one-on-one. Jack said she's going to win the Rumble, choose Ripley, see you soon, unstoppable champ. I suddenly thought, oh, God, is Nia Jax going to win the Rumble?
Loved this. And what made this segment sing was just the fact that like the Fed's pretty good. Now, once upon a time, you could have Rhea Ripley and Nia Jax in the ring, and it would have been like, well, they're both like monsters of this division. Of course you want that match, and maybe Nia will be a threat to the title, whatever. And it would have been fine, like as matchmaking goes. Now you can be encouraged to do a bit of fantasy booking and try and like figure out like Triple H's plotting when there's still so many wrestlers that need to slot in at WrestleMania and Elimination Chambers in a stadium in Australia. So the assumption will be that Rhea Ripley will have a massive title match there. Here's one.
Yep.
So like Nia Jax, but what we know is that Nia Jax doesn't need to win the Rumble to get that match. She can just piss Rhea Ripley off, and then Rhea Ripley gets to be the situational babyface against this everywhere she goes heel. So there you go. They've just established a perfect Elimination Chamber match tonight. At the same time, Rhea Ripley not only like negging Becky Lynch, but using her exact phrasing towards Nia of "take my name out of your mouth" is that little shot to Becky Lynch. Should Lynch win, and we get to that Lynch Rhea Ripley match that we've wanted for ages. Then, which makes you think Becky's going to win the Rumble. Then what you remember is, but she couldn't get to Nia, could she? So when Rhea's beaten Nia, Becky's like, look, you couldn't beat her. Rhea's like, you couldn't beat her. What makes you think you can beat me? Yes. But then Becky gets it done. What does that leave us for Backlash? Becky Lynch versus Nia Jax. All of that's to say Rhea could beat them both. Because Rhea Ripley's so dominant, she's been so effectively pushed in 2023 that she could absolutely just beat the pair of them and carry on as champion. But this is what makes wrestling fun. This is what like some good booking and some ability to trust in the process and have a bunch of over characters at the same time allows for. This was good stuff, made great by the promotion on form.
No? I'm excited for... Well, not excited. I think every permutation, of which there are many, which is logical permutations, which is the hallmark of good booking, that I wouldn't necessarily like lose sleep over. Oh, God.
Rhea and Nia in Australia in the stadium I think that's got a bit of loose sleep.
Oh, why I?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to lose. I mean,
you don't want to have to because it'd be on at like 10 o'clock in the morning, our time.
Well, I just wouldn't
Suck
do
it, Yanks.
I wouldn't do it anyway. I would just be like, I'll enjoy that when it happens. But maybe that says more about my like disposition in general.
For the Fed. I wouldn't say
just in general.
Just in general now.
Just in general. Just in general.
They show clips of The Rock's promo from the previous week, and they go
That'll be your military gift.
Yeah.
General disposition.
Just in general. Just in general disposition.
I'm not just the best. I'm just in general.
It's all right.
I'll never leave that there. I know you hate X Factor. Yep. You got anything else to me? You got anything else to me, X-Pac? Yep.
Yeah, right, you're just stealing this Uncle Cracker song? Yeah, just shout the word X Factor over it. Change the words? Nah. Just shout over it. They try and interview Cody Rhodes, and he gets jumped by Nakamura to set up the main event now being a street fight, effectively.
Yeah.
Probably should have advertised it as that, so I'd have been more interested. And I would have watched the match and lost interest.
They booked it last week. Well, they've booked it for a few weeks now, but they booked it last week, and nobody thought, that's going to be really terrible. Should we stick some weapons in it?
Yeah.
Just call it a street fight there and then.
Yeah.
And then we got the women's tag title match. It was Carter and Chance. They bloody love to have fun, these two.
God, their faces.
There was, I was going to mention here, because I was worried I was going to miss it in my notes. There was an awesome spot. It was like a super Hurricane Rana from...
That was good. That was good.
From Katana Chance, I believe. And then I thought, annoy these two more than one shock kick out face. Double shock kick out face.
That's all I saw in this match was shock kick out faces.
I like the Vader Bomb bit as well.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't hate this. Like, I did not hate this at all. The tag champions are hateable, fundamentally, but I did not mind the agent of this match at all.
It was smoother than it could have been. Smoother than I expected is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Could have been worse.
It looked like they were just going to destroy Chelsea Green early on, but obviously Piping Immy comes in and saves her. Stops Carter from getting involved. Chelsea Green sent Chance into the buckle face first. Pipe hit a cannonball to Chance.
Cannonball?
For a near fall, we go to
It's
a
like
break.
an NXT gimmick, doesn't it? Like,
When we come back, Carter blocks an Unprettier. But Green came back with it. It was basically a Rough Rider, wasn't it? She hit. But the ref's late because he's getting Chance out of the ring. Green's furious, obviously. Niven comes in and hits a senton whilst Carter's draped over Green's knees, but Chance comes in to break up the cover. And it's a setup. So Niven is going to hit Carter with a Vader bomb, but she doesn't realise that Carter's been pulled out of the ring by Chance and Green's there instead. So she Vader bombs her own teammate. Chance hits Niven with a lung blower, and they decide that's still not enough for Chelsea Green. Will hit her with a keg stand for the 1-2-3. Chance and Carter retain the women's tag team titles.
I will do the boring, dry analysis, like based on the crowd reaction and how, if you can call anything subjective, an objective success. They got no reaction, the champions, when they came out whatsoever. It was a pretty dismal crowd, all told.
Yeah, it wasn't a great crowd.
Yeah, it's not a great product, so. And then this match was more dramatic than it had any right to be. It was quite well laid out. That comedy spot you just mentioned was quite good, and they've worked it quite well. And it was smoother than, I expected. And the crowd got into it.
Yeah.
The amount of NXT faces in this match was appalling. I cringed during it, and I continue to hate. Hate's a strong word, but I stand by it. I continue to hate the faces on Chance and Catanzaro, Carter. Like, they're just so smug. The happy little 20-something party life. And maybe, there's a bit of projection on my part here, because I don't get the chance to do that no more. And maybe I had that exact same expression on my face when I was that young and, I love my EDM.
Yeah, maybe they're all
Did you live by the rules back then, or?
No, I did, and I didn't at the same time. It was kind of a wild card.
Maybe it's not NXT faces. Maybe they're all just pulling the faces that they put at those EDM festivals that Wade Barrett was on about.
Well, the typewriter jaw.
I understand there's some faces pulled at those events.
I just there's an obnoxious quality to that act that I will never ever get on board with. But the crowd got into the match.
For me, they're just keeping those titles warm until Kairi and Asuka can win them, basically.
Possibly. It's an uphill battle with Chance and Carter, but on the evidence of this, I would say not an impossible one. Like they did, it was the wrestling that got fans into this act, which should tell WWE loud and clear that this gimmick isn't that likable and it's inherently flawed. But look what Katana Chance, especially, I would say, look what kind of flavour she brings to these matches because of the stuff she can do and the chemistry they've got
Great
together.
bump from Chelsea Green, by the way.
Yeah. And I like Chelsea Green and Piper Niven too. I think we shouldn't just not mention them because that Vader bomb spot was the highlight of the match for me, and you can only get away with that with certain teams. And
Chelsea Green's going to say something basically about Piper Niven costing her the match.
Yeah.
Piper Niven's going to say, what?
Excuse you. Yeah, it's
going to send her flying in the Rumble.
Yeah. All of this was really nicely laid out for, again, something that I don't necessarily believe that they've had this meeting backstage and thought, right, we really need to fix the women's tag division. I still think it's just a matter of time before these belts get passed on to another makeshift team or whatever. But
there's a team out there, if you touch your leg, you vomit up black goo. So
indeed. You might as well go with Chance and Carter for a while because I think on this evidence, I think they stand the best chance of maybe getting these belts back to a certain, the bar is really low for them, but just getting them back to the point of respectability.
Yeah, they keep kind of peaked sort of out of WrestleMania 35, probably.
Probably just before it started, I would say.
No, not for me. Right, this next segment I feel is going to appeal to one half of this table, so I'm just going to turn face this way. Hamlet, there was a comedy feature in R-Truth.
Yeah, there was.
Goated.
Yeah, there was.
So
Cedric cites the Punk thing from earlier on. When I'm bad, I'm Satan himself. You're bathed in red light.
Yeah. So, R-Truth, there's a vignette on him. He talks.
Don't laugh as you say his name. It's like Michael Cole. R-Truth. It's R-Truth.
He sounds like Michael Hamflett. Have you seen R-Truth this week?
He says he's born in Charlotte, North Carolina on a cold January morning, and he never forgot. And the doctor was holding him in his arms. Truth looked him in the eyes and said, "One day, I'm going to be in the judgment day." And that dream came true.
He said it to him.
Yep.
He looked in Dr. Fed's eyes and said, "One day I want to be." He was a baby. Joke one, tick.
I'm a fan of a visual gag, as you know. He says, "We've been through a lot together." And as we see footage of this, he's either just copy-pasted a PNG of himself to look like he's part of the group, or, in my favourite version, record himself against the green screen going, well, yeah, look at all them fireworks.
Rhea Ripley.
He said, we've been through a lot together. Money in the Bank, and he's there, and he said he got his own little ladder, hasn't he, at Money in the Bank. The Women's Royal Rumble. Bloody hell, look at all them fireworks. Judgment Day in your house. He's got his face on the cover now.
Covering the face of the dead man. The VHS of Judgment Day 1998.
He says the Judgment Day have got an unbreakable bond. They might argue from time to time in amongst this. It's footage of Truth from JD McDonagh. But he says, look, now JD's gone. We're a real family. Me, Rhea, Finn, Priest, Tom and Nick Mysterio.
Come on, Sid. Tom and Nick Mysterio.
I don't get it.
Dominic Mysterio, but R-Truth thinks there's two of them. And he said, I've never met Nick.
I've never met Nick. He's still my brother, though.
He thinks he's been called Dirty Tom.
Okay, I feel stupid now. I've not grasped the sophisticated nuance of R-Truth's comedy. Maybe I watched it so glazed over. That's my excuse.
Yeah.
Maybe I watched it and I saw the mock-ups of the Judgment Day's children and Babas.
Yeah.
And I just paid no f***ing attention because it's absolute
I think this was...
It's just not funny.
This was the quintessential your good and bad version of everything. There's never been a good Photoshop gag promo ever before this one. And, like, two genuine poppers, like Tom and Nick Mysterio, that's... I'm going to go home tonight and, like... I'm going to do like some Hindu squats or something because it's absolutely... Tom and Nick Mysterio.
He's done it before, though, with the editing stuff. Remember you and I watched that bit where it was like...
Oh, he was doing it online, wasn't he?
Dom and Rhea were at some event. Or
in Australia.
And he was like, yeah, that's right, guys. And they changed the image. And he...
Honestly, right? So I know you just think I'm fed pilled now. Tom and Nick Mysterio is a line, the quality of which I would have expected from that amazing Jericho piss take of the Cody video. Like, that's something Virgil would have said on the Inner Circle video. That's that line in particular, in terms of what that character is and, like, how you use him. Or like when Sammy Guevara said he's, like, the youngest world champion ever. Like, that's
I but it was self-aware, parodying. The people, the Inner Circle, were lampooning Cody Rhodes and how earnest he is. R-Truth has just had brain damage or something. And it's meant to be... It's not... I just cannot... possibly as a 38-year-old who has watched like sitcoms, like good ones, I think it's not funny.
I think it's wrestling
subjective.
I think this was wrestling funny.
I thought it was funny. I also like the bit where he said, "We're here to send a message to every WWE superstar on behalf of the Judgment Day. We're always here. If you want to talk, if you need a shoulder to cry on, as we always say, live, laugh, love."
Pop 3. T-shirt, get the T-shirt. I'll get the Live, Laugh, Love one out. Like, you know, he's been wearing that, like, Finn and Damien. Like, Finn and Damien and Dom and Rhea and R-Truth and Tom and Nick. Like, I'll buy the shirt. Like, print that shirt and I'll buy it.
I just barely paid attention to it. I cannot watch this performer as a 38-year-old. The end.
The pop at WrestleMania when he comes out, if it's remotely like the one that he got on this Raw, when realistically at this point the frigging awesome Truth fight the Judgment Day for the belts, like, it's going to be massive.
I will say,
it's going to be massive.
I will say that I subjectively hate this. I don't find it funny at all. It kind of offends my sensibilities as an adult having to watch it. It's that bad to me. If they can get a really hot match out of the awesome Truth, I'll have to stand up and applaud.
Yeah.
Because it would be some promotional achievement on the part of Triple H. Like, novelist Milan Kundera once wrote that kitsch...
I'm aware of Milan Kundera's work.
That kitsch is the absolute denial of shit.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
The absolute denial of shit. That's what kitsch is, right? Okay. The awesome Truth, just pure. Like, is there any redeeming? It was the thing that we inexplicably arrived at that in part, in unholy union with so much else, ruined the one cool thing about WWE in 2011.
Yeah.
How is there nostalgia for it?
I can't answer that question. Yeah.
But the version that is going to be rebooted, apparently, might actually be over and get a massive wrestler. Not for me, but I will have to start. It's like getting Eric Escobar over for me. How are you doing this?
He's, I don't want to jump ahead.
I couldn't get over the bit where the Miz was pointing. It was like a house show at like the rowdiest town you've ever been to.
Yeah.
Boo! Yay! What's going on?
The Miz has generated respect for himself all over again because of the Gunther feud.
Doing it all over again.
Wow.
Oh, sorry. I forgot he was cooking at No Mercy 2016.
He was shoot-goated cooking in 2016.
Mercy. From Hull.
And he's got a hot wife. Don't forget that.
Do you think she's hot, Wilborn?
Has he won many titles?
Hang on, let me check his week.
Oh yeah, sorry, carry on. There's more I like about this, but let's get to the storytelling aspect in the next bit.
Darren asked this morning. We're talking about Truth going into the Hall of Fame, and the fact that R-Truth has got the Judgment Day a new telly, but it was smoking.
Yeah.
As we got back again, Priest can't control himself. He's quite amused by it. JD McDonagh's pitching a fit with all this, but Priest is like, that's kind of quite funny actually, and Rhea's like, we need to deal with R-Truth. Balor is pissed about DIY. He says, DIY? They're going to need CPR, MRI, and EMTs, probably.
Horrendous.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Horrendous.
Priest says, all right, calm down. We should probably go after Drew McIntyre as well. And Rhea's like, we don't need Drew as an enemy. And he's like, yeah, actually, we don't. Drew's too much of a joke to be an enemy, so probably fine anyway. And they say, do you think it's a good idea to make an enemy out of Nia Jax? And she's like, I'll take care of Nia. JD, you take care of The Miz to set up this match. Where JD McDonagh was cornered by Tom and Nick Mysterio. So
I really like this whole interaction apart from that stupid Finn Balor joke. Badly written, garbage. The rest of this was tremendous. The Damian Priest, first going for Drew McIntyre, who at this point kind of Rhea Ripley's got more respect for than her own group because he actually followed through on what he did, which is another reason why Drew's pissed off again. All these different characters that actually feel like they exist in the world rather than just for the one segment they're in. Triple H is copying his own homework because R-Truth, if he wasn't already, basically just became Sami Zayn in the Bloodline with the Judgment Day, and Damian Priest just became Jey Uso. Slash Jimmy, with the high five bit. But we're going to get either on the road to WrestleMania. They could kill us before. It could be just fantasy booking this, but I'm judging it off reactions and the way that it's going down week on week and it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. It just feels like even if it wasn't the definite plan, a destination has started to show itself here for how you could pay all this off.
Bare minimum, an Andre the Giant win.
Yeah.
Example for Truth.
Something like that. But it just sort of, I'm not suggesting that this is going to feel as big as when Jey Uso stood on the floor with Sami Zayn and then he turns heel.
They call it the Andrew the Giant trophy or something.
There was a typo on the screen. It was Andrew the Giant. Yeah.
That's what R-Truth, that's R-Truthism.
That really is. But Damian Priest, having to decide whether just to kick his head off or side with him, it's going to be a fantastic moment in the building. And I honestly think that could get us to this tag match. Hypothetically, if it was Awesome Truth, you could definitely get that to WrestleMania. On the undercard, and Priest loses for the team, and then all of a sudden he's belt free, and he's got the briefcase again. It just felt to me like a bunch of directions more than what was initially probably just a silly comedy bit in the clubhouse back in November.
Then it was time for The Miz and JD McDonagh, and Truth showed up, and everyone was like, oh, thank God he's here. Dom interferes to allow McDonagh to take control.
Listen to him going on. He's got such a big head, and he's fighting The Miz.
Miz comes back, clothesline, kicks, hits JD in the knee, sets up the figure four. JD McDonagh makes it to the ropes, and Truth's out there cheering him on, but that sort of distracts him. That allows Miz to drop kick McDonagh into Mysterio, send him back in the ring, skull-crushing finale, 1, 2, 3, and then Truth still celebrates with Miz regardless. Your Judgment Day aren't happy about any of this.
This is what I want to watch. I'd take hot, loud, mid-wrestling with characters I'm invested in of, medium atmosphere, really great wrestling I've seen 100 bazillion times. I'll pick this over, 4.5-star matches in 2024 because there's that many of those. This is what I want. This is what I like. Fans bang into it. A story I like. I don't care.
Crowd are ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't care
what
if
it was.
JD McDonagh are just exchanging the basics, because it's like the whole thing on the screen is substantially more entertaining to me than just simply great wrestling.
On principle, you're not talking complete nonsense.
Thanks.
But subjective to me, Miz.
Yeah, the prerequisite, you absolutely have to feel this, otherwise.
I feel nothing.
Yeah.
I feel absolutely nothing.
Seth Rollins comes out.
Is he doing that?
It's like an eclipse, like you're not supposed to look directly at
Oh,
it. And then it gets me right at the end, anyway.
it's like the sun, isn't it? With ginger pubes.
Seth Rollins comes out. He says, we're on the home
Before he
stretch.
done this, but
Ball of fire.
Rumble's coming up. After that, it's the road to WrestleMania. He's never taken a title into WrestleMania. All that changes. The year of Seth Rollins, he turned a title that didn't exist last year into the most important title. He's a workhorse. He's got some work to do, though, and the work's not done. Who's he going to beat at the Rumble? The crowd chants for CM Punk, and Seth says, in his dreams, the roster's stacked. And as if to exemplify that, a former WWE champion comes out, Jinder Mahal. And I was like,
Everyone basically checked their watch, and it was...
Time to sing my gig. Jinder says, of course you're out here singing your own praises. How is it in the less than 5 minutes I was more of a revolutionary than you've been in the past 5 years? Your only purpose is to entertain these clowns, these degenerates. You speak no truth. You bring no value. You throw childish temper tantrums, but I digress. You provide opportunities.
He wasn't digressing either.
You're providing opportunities, except someone deserving like me. You have the audacity to overlook me. Let me remind you, I beat Randy Orton with ease. I see through all this. I've got your attention now. Seth says, I want to say something that might well surprise you. You're right. We have been overlooking you. That's been on purpose. We're trying to forget you showed up last week and rock putting your balls in a goddamn vice. I respect the fact that you show up 1 week later, though. What I don't respect is you coming out and ruining the bloody party and getting in my face. So, yeah, you've got my attention. Are you sick of being overlooked? Do you want to do something these people will remember forever? Well, you take a swing, bro. Jinder doesn't. Seth goes, same old Jinder. Goes to throw the mic away, and, of course, as soon as he turns his back, Jinder attacks. Seth fights back. Jinder hits a clothesline, pulls Seth up. Seth hits a super kick. Looks like he's hit to stomp, but Jinder rolls out of the ring, and there's a stare down.
This is pretty stupid.
Yeah.
Pretty goddamn stupid, this.
Predictable verbiage to set up a predictable TV title match in this. And we've had a bit of this on SmackDown. I'm not against it fundamentally, but it's Triple H's Vince Russo and Ed Ferrara, let's start at the bottom and book the guys doing nothing first challenge for 2024. There are a lot of wrestlers where he's like, well, we got an out for you. I'm going to try and fix that. It's not always going to work because there's a reason why you don't have anything for certain wrestlers.
It was just, I couldn't believe how stupid this was. I was actually, within me there is a hater. Okay? That just is. I can't deny it. 38 years old. I've just come to terms with the fact that there is a hater within me. And I kind of enjoyed elements of this Raw perversely on that basis. Spoke to the hater within. That Finn Balor line of, what was it?
How
did he get to the MRI thing?
DIY, more like MRI.
They'll need that.
ENT.
Yeah. That's terrible. Oh, God. I love how terrible that is.
Fee more, that, isn't
it? Yeah. Love how terrible that is. And this was like, right, okay, you do this bit, halfway inspired last week, where you promise former WWE champion's going to make that grand return. And then, of course, you use Jinder Mahal as the bait and switch, as if to say, sorry, guys, it's had a little bit of fun with you. Not that complete geek, but The Rock instead. 7 days later, that complete geek we used as a punchline. The last former WWE champion you'll ever want to see, right? What if he becomes WWE champion again in a match for the title against Seth freaking Rollins? Stupid, like absolutely stupid. And the match is going to suck. And Seth Rollins looked like an idiot here with the same old Jinder. Again, another obnoxious clown that he is. I thought this is absolutely stupid on every conceivable level.
Is there not a bit of the Eva Marie Bailey to this? With the threat of a Damian Priest cash-in as well.
I get the
You're doing this again.
What?
You are preemptively enjoying it with your optimism about what it could be.
Yeah.
That's good promotion then, isn't it? To get him excited for a thing that hasn't happened yet.
It's a dog. If you want to promote something to Adam Wilborn, why don't you get a ball and pretend to throw it across the room?
That's what Jinder Mahal getting a title match is. Yeah. A fake throw of a ball across a room.
Oh, where's that title gone?
You want to catch this? In between your teeth?
Yeah.
Do you want to?
Let's do this.
Want to see if you can?
Yeah, let's try and see if we can do it.
Do some panting.
Oh!
Spun in the air. We're back.
No, that. Better have a finish. Like if the well, you say that, but like who realistically? Like Seth's probably not gonna have a title match at the Rumble otherwise. What if like Jinder hits him with a chair? He's like, well, we're gonna have to have a bloody street fight at the Rumble. Way. Like I'm just thinking out loud. Like there's no Seth started this with, I've never gone into a Rumble as champion before. Like, well, at this rate, you're not gonna, are you? Because there's no match for you. Apart from this guy, this complete geek, this loser. I don't want that.
I think it's going to be a Trojan horse for some Damian Priest cash-in shenanigans, possibly.
It's funny to think of Seth. I'll give you the match of your life, Jinder. They won't be taking the piss out of you after you get in there with me. I think they probably will.
Probably will. Yeah, they probably will. Is my eye gone funny?
Huh?
It's very itchy.
Is it? Ever get that thing where your like lid goes down?
Yeah, it's stress.
Awful, isn't it?
Stress eye. Every now and then.
Stress and tiredness, I believe.
Yeah.
Never get it. Not me.
Wait till you have a second kid.
I was going to say, yeah. You only got one, it don't count. We told you that.
I love Ivar and Otis. The big lads having a big lad fight with a ridiculous spot in there as always. Ivar tried a springboard crossbody and Otis caught him and hit a world's strongest slam.
Oh my God.
Better than the Viking rules, man.
Yeah. Ivar followed with a sit-out powerbomb for 2. Otis hit a discus clothesline and the caterpillar elbow drop for 2, but Ivar hit a roundhouse kick and a moonsault for the 1, 2, 3, and Tozawa for some reason tried to confront Ivar afterwards.
I got a bit sad watching this. Like, the spot they did was really cool.
Yeah.
I'm not being facetious or like me that much when I'm saying it was legitimately better in that Viking rules match, which, by the way, made it into my 10 best matches of 2023 list on What Culture, which you can probably still read. They did the big moonsault thing, and you look at the rose visible on camera, and no one reacts.
It's annoying that. Yeah.
This is a match that more than most proper needs like a soundtrack. You need the oohs and the ahs. You're just not getting them. Like the people don't give a toss. And it was just a bit sad, I guess.
I think sometimes you need these to tell you that people are past it a little bit as well. Like the feud, there's not much of a foo-head anyway between them. But like even the matches now, we've had a few goes of this. Take a break, take a breather for a little bit. People aren't just going to like take Ivar as he is doing big moonsault. We're all really greedy now. Like, sorry, the first time he did this in that match, what was it, like last September, October? Oh my God, push Ivar out of the moon. And then they did for a bit and it was really exciting, but we're all greedy and we all get bored quick and it's just, right, it doesn't mean his career's finished, but we've hit our ceiling for this for now.
Yeah. Save it, get rid of the WrestleMania showcase, or just make the WrestleMania showcase Viking rules.
Yes, please. A Viking rules match at WrestleMania.
Jey Uso get asked if he's got any resolutions. He said, yeet. He's going to get his first singles championship in 2024. And Bronson Reed said, I've got the same goal. Don't get in my way.
I had a bit of a problem with this as a big Jey Uso guy. I understand it's Rumble season and the story, if you want, can just be, I'm going to win the Rumble.
Every character should want their singles title.
I don't have a problem with that at all. But it wasn't nailed on enough here. And whether by accident or design, the combination of this with CM Punk not naming him in the Rumble felt like a bit of a lack of focus.
Yeah.
Like he's called Main Event Jey Uso and I will buy it and it has worked. And people love the entrance and it feels big time when it's happening. Jay and Jimmy has felt locked in for ages, which is to WWE's enormous credit considering how terrible Tribal Combat was. And yet...
Said it was going to happen.
And yet we should be... Jey Uso, of all people, should be saying, not just, I might win my first singles title, like Intercontinental, like Gunther might be quite nice, US title. He should be saying, I want to frigging win the Royal Rumble, and we all know why that is.
Yeah.
You know, tribal chief, whatever. And then when he gets screwed, there you're on to Jimmy, whatever. I just...
Felt very low stakes there.
It did, didn't it? Yeah.
Maybe they're going to do some sort of qualifier, but I don't want to take Bronson Reed out of the Rumble. But it's one of those ones where maybe they say, oh, actually, you have
well,
to
no, because Jey Uso should now, if his main event is Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes and CM Punk,
Well, the only person who had to qualify last year was like Ricochet or something.
Yeah, if CM Punk and Cody Rhodes
and Drew, I guess now, like they're saying
Shinsuke can say I'm being in it.
Yeah,
Jay can almost certainly also say, "Well, I'm in it." Especially when look some of the geeks who are going to be involved.
Yeah.
Without qualifying, it's always like a bit of a weird plot hole that no one gives a toss about. And pedantic as I am, I don't either. But Jay Uso should be presented as someone who's like, I'm automatically in. I'm entitled to it on the strength of my work.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go.
Speaking of which,
It's time to play the game. Time to play the game.
Where is Raw next week?
The Lick Your Ass Center.
No. Okay. The other reason I would ask you this question, I just want the place, not the name of the arena. The reason I'm asking Sidgwick here more than anyone.
The Whitley Bay Ice Rink.
Little Rock, Arkansas.
Little Rock, Arkansas.
You always say it, don't you? You always say Little Rock when we're trying
no
to pick.
offense, I'd like to go.
Quiet crowds, isn't it? Little Rock, Arkansas. It's one of them places, isn't it?
They've got the world title on there. Seth versus Jinder. Finn Balor and Damian Priest versus the Awesome Truth. DIY, in the meantime, have got a handicap match. Tom and Nick Mysterio and JD McDonagh taking on DIY. And the return of Gunther, of course. I thought of you with the Little Rock.
Little Rock, Little Cock, Arkansas.
Right. Main event time is a street fight.
Jesus Christ.
We've got there.
It's the fastest it's ever been.
Just no 5-star review, really. That's why.
It's time flies when you're having fun. Great show. Until this main event, which was a 10 minutes too long minimum.
Yeah.
Cody Rhodes versus Shinsuke Nakamura. They get into it early on. They brawl to the outside. The crowd want tables. And Nakamura goes under the ring and comes back with a broom. Hit Rhodes with a broom. Attacks him with a kendo stick to take us to a break. When we come back, Rhodes takes back over. He hits Shinsuke with a kendo stick. Nakamura comes back with some knee strikes and some kicks. Rhodes hits a disaster kick for 2. Grabs a table, but Nakamura attacks him with nunchucks. Rhodes goes into the sort of timekeeper's area, grabs a chair. Nakamura goes to mist Cody Rhodes, but he ducks. And then timekeeper is the one who eats the mist. Berkeley Ottman, his cousin, Cody's, and the son of Tugboat, of course.
Tug Job coming in from Mania Payday is great. I want
Tug Job?
Yeah. The gag master. I want Typhoon to like come and defend the honor of his son, and Cody's like, Uncle Fred, leave it. It's not worth it. And then, I don't know, he gets his head kicked off by Nakamura. That's funny. I didn't Typhoon.
Tugboat and Viking rules.
Oh my God. Yeah. Like Tugboat just stands at the front of the ring. He said you wanted a boat on the ring. I'm here. Ooh. Treat yourself to a Tugboat promo on YouTube. Any of them. He thinks he's a boat. He says one, honestly, where he's like, which again sounds ruder now than in the more innocent times, where it was like, because when, they all had to just those screaming localized promos, like, I remember when I was younger with all the other little tugboats. Right, hang on. Like, the little tuggers. Right, can I just stop you there, Fred? I'll accept that you grew up on a boat. Phil lived on one for a bit.
Yeah.
That people can live at sea. I get that. Are you telling me that you would like chat and play with the other tugboats in the dock?
It's love how it was always like the little Hulksters, little Hulkamaniacs, the little warriors.
The little doomers.
The little doomers.
Animal talking about little doomers. Instead of ripping your head off, it was like the little doomers. Tell them, Hawk, we're going to slice your guts in half for the little doomers.
The little doomers.
But yeah, shout out to Sean
The little barbers got an instruction.
Little barbers.
All these kids. The original scissorer.
So, understandably, Rhodes says, get Berkeley some help. But Nakamura uses this distraction to attack him with a chair.
That was his freak thing. We did say there'd be a Cody freak thing. I did not expect him to involve his own cousin and the timekeeper getting the mist in the face.
Yeah.
He always
led into it as well. I love that. I watched on the replay. He's like,
always has a freak spot in him, Cody. Wasn't setting his back on fire, but what is?
Yeah.
Right.
Nakamura's in control after we come back from another break. Rhodes sends him into a chair that's been wedged between the ropes, though. 2 bionic elbows. He sets up the table, but Nakamura headbutts him, puts him on the table, and does a double knee drop off the top to send Cody through the table and get a 2 count. Nakamura goes and gets another table, props that up in the corner, Sliding German that he does. Flying knee strike, gets another near fall. Goes for the Kinshasa, but Rhodes hit a super kick and a pedigree for 2. And a Cody cutter gets another 2. Nakamura counters the crossroads into a cradle, goes for another Kinshasa, but Rhodes sidesteps, send him into the table, hit him with a crossroads. 1, 2, 3. Cody Rhodes has finally triumphed in this feud.
Finally is the operative friggin' word. This took bloody forever. I was trying to just engage with this and it was impossible. It was just a pretty tedious match layout for a start, right? I did try and just focus on something, anything to just hold on to just try and watch. And Cody's selling was quite good. He's, he knows about the archer's back, the emotion of what he's trying to do, the logic. It's all fine. I really like Cody Rhodes. But I'm just, Shinsuke Nakamura is entering his 7th year on this main roster. What was he doing, Hamlet, in June 2019? We've got absolutely no idea. This...
Bad US title stuff, I imagine.
Probably, who cares? It's just been the most mutually apathetic relationship where WWE haven't said this to him, but they've done this to him. It's like, care about you some weeks, then just forget about you for months, and then maybe try and do something. And he's just gone,
okay,
great, I don't care. And after a run that is longer than Steve Austin's WWE career.
Correct.
Full-time career.
Mm-hmm.
The Rock's.
Even longer than the time Tyler Bates spent in development.
Yes. Right.
I think the ground that covers.
There's nothing behind anything he does, and I just cannot get on board with the fact that they've halfway grasped how to present Nakamura, who can really cut a great promo in Japanese. Finally, you figured it out. It took you 6 years. Well done. 6 years of the most nothing run you've ever seen, littered with underwhelming, disappointing matches. There's no aura to Shinsuke Nakamura, and there hasn't been for as long as he had one, realistically now at this point. He's like the Simpsons.
Yeah.
And when I watch him go ages in a match like this, I'm like, well, why should I care? And I don't, and it is impossible. I'm sick of my intelligence being insulted. I'm sick of you're cynical. It's been 7 years and out, and I'm suddenly meant to go, all right, I care now. I physically find it impossible to give a toss about anything Nakamura does.
There's something about your point about the promos, of which Nakamura's have been better. Of course, they've been better. That I don't want people to think I'm I like when I talk about things I like, but I don't want to think about them just being generous to WWE for the sake of it. I don't like when WWE are getting roses thrown at them for allowing people to speak in their native language.
It's something I want to see. That should have been instituted years ago. Something like this.
Are we lifting Stephanie on our shoulders for inventing women's wrestling in 2015? Or Triple H for inventing feminism with Evolution in 2018? No. It was decades behind the times, and this is that too. And yet it's isn't it brilliant? It's like ruffle a hair for loads of the cool stuff, not this.
Loads of the cool stuff.
Tons. Like all the cool stuff. From late 2022 to now. All the cool stuff. Also, you had Punk on the show. I'd have taken 5 2-minute CM Punk bumps into so-and-so backstages and taken 10 minutes off this. Whatever this was. You could have shaved 10 minutes off it.
They've kept Cody busy, haven't they, basically?
Aye, but plunder stuff's pretty tired as it is. You got to you got to work hard to make plunder entertaining.
Crap plunder as well.
Yeah.
Pretty crap. Kendo stick and table. So I'm like, yeah.
What did you say? June 2019?
Yes.
Before we wrap up, do you want to have
It's time to play the game! Time to play the game! Ha ha ha!
What was Shinsuke Nakamura up to in June / I'm going to take you into July as well because that's relevant. June, July 2019.
Was he feuding?
He was.
With Jeff Hardy?
It's good. Not yet, I don't think.
I know he's doing something. He had a SummerSlam match with Jeff Hardy, but I'll never remember the year as long as I live.
So it was the end of 2019, I think, that he started hanging around with Sami Zayn in the Continental title club they had. Remember that?
Yes.
Sami Zayn was like his manager. So I don't think this is right, but I'm just struggling to think of anything else. When they did the I Want You, Uncle Sam, Shinsuke stuff. I'll say he was doing something with the United States title.
It was July. No.
Yeah,
It's not correct.
Of course it isn't.
I will tell you that on the 29th of June 2019, he was in a tag match
With Cesaro.
with Triple H at a house show in Tokyo, Japan against who?
The Bar.
No.
2019.
Give you a clue. One
Revival.
of these people is doing very well for themselves right now.
R-Truth.
No. Better. Far better.
Samoa Joe and 2019 heel that would hang around with Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe 2019, what was...
2018 was the AJ stuff, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Was that 2017?
2019, Joe was the US champion for quite a bit in 2019. Friggin' wasn't. It's so funny to me, by the way, that Triple H put himself in a tag with Joe Nakamura in Japan. That is like the game. Triple H, that isn't it?
He also put a sort of weird,
he's only just recovered off his
Spider-Man meme in the other corner.
The game.
I may have thrown you off with that one, actually.
He's only just recovered from his ripped off titty that he got in Saudi Arabia, isn't he?
He's back from Mania, man.
Randy Orton.
No. There you go.
Okay.
Robert Roode.
Triple H to all his NXT boys. And
Yeah.
Let's go and give him 20 great minutes. You're here.
Yeah.
And at Extreme Rules 2019 on the 14th of July, on the kickoff, Shinsuke Nakamura won the IC title from Finn Balor in 7 minutes and 36 seconds.
You'll never remember that as long as you bloody live.
Now happened for years and years and years, did it?
Nah.
Nothing happened.
Nothing bloody happened.
Nothing happened. I'm amazed it wasn't a 2 out of 3 falls match based on the time.
Yes.
Well, on that note, let us know your thoughts on McDonagh Raw on X or in the comment section below. You can follow us at What Culture WWE. Well, actually, you can follow all three of us. You can follow Michael Hamflett at
Michael Hamflett.
You can follow Michael Sidgwick at
M. Sidgwick.
Well, our brilliant producer, Phil Chambers, at Phil My Chambers. You can follow me at Adam Wilborn. Follow us all at What Culture WWE. And make sure you subscribe to What Culture Wrestling, wherever you get your podcasts from, for daily wrestling podcasts. A bit of a topsy-turvy day today, so the NXT preview is available right now. And we'll be back to review NXT tomorrow as well. But for now, this has been the Raw review. My thanks to the Dadley Boyz. I'm one of them. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you soon.